there, I just want to let you know that this is one of my oh so late spoiler movie reviews. It was recorded quite a while ago, so please keep in mind that my opinions about this movie are first impressions only, freshly expressed right after watching the film for the first time. If you want access to my full reaction to this movie, feel free to join my membership club. Details about it are in the description box below. Now, back to my spoiler review.
Hands down, this movie is the perfect escape from the reality of what's kind of going on, well, for me here in Canada. So that's the first thing I will say I love about this movie, is that it really takes you on a journey into a completely different world of things. And when you consider nowadays so much of our mainstream properties are thrown in a lot of real life situations, it's almost like they don't want you to escape from the reality of what's going on politically and socially, and so they just ingrain it in their movies. And that's what I love the most about this movie, is that it's somewhat timeless. Like, I can see myself recommending this movie as a comedy 10 years from now, and it's not going to reflect too much what was going on at the time it was made. You know what I mean? So that's the first thing I have to give kudos to the writers and producers, and in this case it's Ryan Reynolds and Shawn Levy. Now, the second thing I think this movie did so well, and is one of the main reasons I will recommend this to people who don't know much about video games but want an entertaining comedy to watch, is the fact that they took a movie that's based on modern day video gaming and they made it easy to understand and relatable to those who don't know anything about that stuff. I don't know much about the video game world. I have siblings that play video games, and I'm going to be honest, the whole term NPC, I understood it based on watching this movie. So I have to give kudos for that, because not only was I able to learn somewhat what I think I understood thus far on my first watch, it now makes me more, I wouldn't say curious, because I'm not that curious, but I'd say basically if anything comes up about video games, I won't roll my eyes as often out of my own ignorance. I'll be like, okay, well, Free Guy gave me an inside look. What do you guys show me that's along the same lines? You know what I mean? So if they were to have a part 2, that's what I'm getting at, really. If they were to have a sequel to Free Guy based on the same thing, I'd be interested to watch it, despite the fact that I don't know much about video games and I'm not all that interested, okay? So I have to give kudos for that, because it's not an easy thing to do, to put out a movie out there in the mainstream and expect those people who are like myself, who are not into video games, to want to watch this movie. And having Ryan Reynolds be somewhat, your what's the word? Your bait for audience members like myself to come into this world, it worked. And so I can see why this was a summer hit movie, because yeah, Ryan Reynolds got me into wanting to watch it, and then I saw for myself, okay, all this stuff that's happening is pretty cool. I understand the story and the characters and all that, which leads me to the third thing that works very well for this movie, and that is the performances. Ryan Reynolds did not disappoint me in being Ryan Reynolds. I love his work. A lot of Ryan Reynolds' choices in certain ways he expresses himself, and in some of his movies, not all of them, there's a very distinct parallel to the choices made by Jim Carrey. And if you're not familiar with Jim Carrey's work, or if you're one of those people that can't stand Jim Carrey, then you won't get the references I'm talking about. But I'm one of those viewers that's been familiar with Ryan Reynolds' work way before he was ever famous. And the fact that I'm a huge Jim Carrey fan, it's easy for me to spot out a lot of similarities, okay? The performances is what really makes this movie. Of course, having a really decent story and a lot of underlying subtext that's a lot of fun to watch play out and also discussed in dialogue to some degree, that's all well and fine. But I feel that if Ryan Reynolds wasn't as good as he is in this movie, and if Jodie Comer, that's her name, Jodie Comer, I've never seen this actress before, but Jodie Comer, I now know who she is, and it's definitely someone I look forward to seeing more of her work. She really performed her character of Millie so well. I love how there was such a distinction between the video game version of her and the Millie in real life version. It really did seem like two separate people, but also at the same time, the mix of them together. Yeah, just hands up to Jodie Comer. She is, to me, the breakthrough star in this movie. And the supporting cast, of course, did a phenomenal job. Taika Waititi's performance, although, may seem over the top, I felt was very perfectly reflective of certain types of personalities in a real world, just in an exaggerated sense. But his performance, in a general sense, is fun to watch. And he actually brought out more laughs than I expected. But overall, I think this is a fantastic comedy. I look forward to rewatching it. Let me know in the comment section what were some of the funniest moments from this movie that you find memorable. I look forward to reading them. And for now, there you have it. Those are my afterthoughts from watching Free Guy. And until my next oh-so-late review of a movie, I'm Asha, tuning out.
Thanks for watching. Check out my other videos and subscribe. You know you wanna.